Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Wherever you're listening right now, I'm sure you subscribe button. Hit that. Get notified when new content comes out throughout the season. Get some stories like I'm going to tell you right now. And it's exclusive only for podcast subscribers. So, yes, you may see me on YouTube, maybe going around on TV, depending where you live. But this is exclusive content only for you podcast subscribers. So I want to do a little story time. Trying to, think back. I did a lot of, autograph stories lately. So I kind of want to do something maybe unrelated type of off the field story. So happened back in 2009. It was in interleague when the Yankees were down in Florida to play the Marlins. I went down there for 2 games with my cousin, and a little interesting thing happened down there. Kind of get into all that, and just kind of set the stage because there was really a launching point right after that weekend series in Florida. That 2009 Yankee team really took off. So I was kind of seeing them kind of at a pivotal moment where they kind of saw the springboard and then really started rolling on for the rest of the season. And of course, that year we go on to win their, 27th World Championship, and they're still working on 28, 13 years later. So that's pretty sad. Anyway, so me and my cousin went down there. It was just me and him. I believe my uncle picked me up, both of us early in the airport. Got on a JetBlue flight like 6 in the morning. Got down to Miami. I don't know if I took care of the hotel accommodations or maybe my uncle did since, I was going down with my cousin. I believe I took care of the car rental. And I guess my uncle got us some I think it was like a Holiday Inn, little outside of Miami. So we get down there, get to the airport, pick up the car, we drive out there. And, you think Miami, you're thinking like Miami Vice and Will Smith and Martin Lawrence and Bad Boys and Scarface and Party City with Miami and all that stuff. This Holiday Inn was kind of away from all that, so didn't really get to experience the fun side of Miami. I mean, we did visit South Beach. We first went down there, parked, went into the water. It was like my first time seeing turquoise blue water. It was for me, it was such a bug out. And just being from New York, the water's always freezing. Even in the summer, you have to take your body 20 minutes to get used to the water. Down there, you just walk right in. So to me, I was wow, I just never seen this. But even the palm tree too. Getting off the JetBlue flight and just seeing a palm tree out front of the airport, I was like, wow. Anyway, go to the hotel. So the first game, the Friday night game, it's at that time they called it Pro Player Stadium. Remember that stadium where the Dolphins also played at? They changed that name a million times, but I think at the time it was Pro Player Stadium. This is big dump, kind of a dumpy place, kind of lonely. But since the Yankees were in town, I guess every transplant in New York you could think of was down there. I meant literally that first game, the Friday night game, was all Yankee fans. Maybe a very small handful of people had Marlins stuff on. It was all just dominated by Yankees and Yankee fans. And whether it was people like me that traveled or just New Yorkers that retired down there, they were all down there. And you kind of see the ones that did retire down there because their skin was dark brown leather. I guess those are the ones that moved down there maybe 20 years ago, and the skin got charred up pretty bad. So the first game, I believe Pettit was on the mound. It was kind of a laugher. I think the Yankees won the game, maybe 10-3 or something like that. It was a bit of a blowout. I remember Andy Pettit started. They definitely won the first game. Melky Cabrera hit the home run. The second game, though, is where the story unfolds. So the second game, a much bigger crowd because it was Cowbell night. So the way the Yankees give out bobbleheads and these things, the Marlins decided to give out little mini cowbells that game. So it was a complete sellout. I would say a lot more Marlins fans. I would say, yeah, there was a lot of Yankee fans, but at least the Marlins fans did show up a little bit more than that one. I would put it at maybe 60-40 Yankee fans, but still a significant amount of Marlins fans there. And of course, with the cowbell, every time a Yankee batter had 2 strikes on him, ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell. So me and my cousin for this game was sitting in the upper deck. I would say the first base side, and in front of us there was a row of people. Now this is the weird part. It was a row of people, all Yankee fans except one who was a Met fan, and he had a Met jersey on, which is something I just don't understand. I mean, obviously, you don't know what his rooting interest is. Obviously, the Marlins are an NL East competitor, but also, as a Met fan, you kind of always want to see the Yankees lose and vice versa. So it's hard to see who he was there actually rooting for. But I guess he was a part of this group, and he just felt to go to the game with the jersey on. And again, I don't know why you would show up in a game that doesn't involve your team with a jersey. For example, let's say if I'm going to a Boston game and Boston's playing Seattle, I'm not going to go there with any Yankee paraphernalia. I'm just, I'm off duty. I'm just there to watch the game, probably root for the Mariners, but that's it. I'm not going to wear anything. Same thing with, if I happen to go to a Met Brave game, I'm not going to go in there rolling up with Yankee gear. It's just why? It's just, I think it's a little antagonizing, but it's silly. So obviously the game's going on. It was a game the Yankees lost by either they lost I would say 4-2, 4-1. They didn't score many runs. of that game. They were dominated. But what happened was, I guess as the game was going on, every time someone had 2 strikes, they would ring the bell, whatever. So with this particular Met fan, it seemed like this girl next to him, even though they knew each other, she was sort of antagonize him a little bit. And she would just ring the bell right near his face just to like bother him a little bit. And I guess he had his breaking point. He grabbed the bell and just threw it onto the field. I don't think it hit the field, but definitely went down to the main level. So went over off the upper deck down into the main level. Maybe hit someone in the head. I have no idea. But there were a couple of oohs and ahs near. So the people that saw that and were like, all right, it's kind of weird. I mean, whatever. Then I would say about maybe 15 minutes later, I see, a brown shirt, I guess a Miami-Dade County, I don't know if it was a sheriff, a cop, but definitely a brown, uniformed officer in a brown shirt come out of the section entrance there and kind of look around. And then he was joined by another cops, like 3 or 4 cops, maybe 2, like, stadium security staff, all kind of looking around a little bit. And I guess somebody, in the row in front of him or behind him or around him, definitely wasn't me. I didn't rat the guy out. Point to say, hey, it was the Met fan. So they came to the row, asked the guy, hey, come with us. The Met fan got up begrudgingly and just walked out with the cops and the security. And whatever happened to him. So, yeah. So I don't know if it hit somebody or what the deal was, but they did a pretty good job of finding out who it was. And kind of a weird area. I mean, I guess there was cameras around. I didn't see where there would be a camera, but whatever. They figured out where the bell came from. So, and it was a Met fan. And again, in a game that has nothing to do with him, I can see if his team was involved and you're passionate and you're pissed off that, someone struck out and you get agitated. Okay, I can at least understand. Like, what does he care about the Yankees and the Marlins? He's going to be that invested in it and let someone bother him that he's going to, grab the bell and throw it. So it didn't make any sense. Kind of stupid. And, whatever punishment he got. So that's really the story. The Yankees, again, lost that game. And I think the next game Sunday, CC was on the mound. They lost that game as well. Like 6-5 or something. So it was a bad weekend for the Yankees. Lost 2 out of 3 in that game. But now where the season got interesting is after that, because after they left there, the Yankees went up to Atlanta for a 3-game set against the Braves. And they lost the opening game. Like, they got shut out. I mean, it was like 4-0. Because the team at the time, they were like maybe 7 or 8 games above 500. They weren't terrible, but just were kind of like, damn, not really taking off. And like, you had a talented lineup. A-Rod wasn't there for the beginning of the 2009 season, if you remember. Again, he had that off-season surgery on the hip. So he kind of missed a chunk of the start of the season. Then when A-Rod joined the team eventually, and then after this Miami series, when they went up to Atlanta, they lost that first game, had the players-only meeting, and then after that, the team just took off. So anytime you want to check like the baseball almanac, go to the 2009 season with the Yankees. Look for that weekend in June when they went to Atlanta. You'll see they lost the first game, and then after that, just look at not say they won every game, but the win rate was much high, and then before you knew it, they were at 25 games over 500 before you can blink. And it was really those couple of losses in against the Marlins and probably that opening game loss against the Braves where the team was like, hey, look, come on, we got to get things going here because it's almost July, and what are we doing here? And then again, the team from that point took off, and we're going to eventually become the 2009 World Series champion. And of course, A-Rod had that amazing postseason run where he kind of saved the team's bacon plenty of times. And had that. So that's the Cowbell story at Pro Player Stadium, Dumpy Stadium. But I say the good part about the stadium, it was the first time I had an arepa, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. So it's basically 2 corn tortillas held together by a jack cheese in the middle. So that was pretty good. So they had a couple of beers. I guess that's the only good thing about that stadium. Other than that, it was kind of a dump. And kind of dumpy weekend because the Yankees lost 2 out of 3. I only went to the 2 games, so 1-1 for me, and then back up to New York. So, Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Hope you like the story. Again, make sure you subscribe to this podcast and get some more stories throughout the season.